Well, good day, everybody. This is Michael just coming to you with another message here. I'm going to try to keep it a little bit short today. We're going to talk about start where you are. And it's March 21st, 2026 today. Why are we talking about starting where you are? Because I know it's been a big problem of mine. There are times where I'll have ideas where I can just get going on them. There are also times where I have ideas where I have things and I want to map the whole thing out. I want to understand everything before I make any moves. Or it seems like life just continually gets in the way. And the thing that I want to do, the thing that I want to pursue, the idea that I have, it just keeps getting pushed and getting pushed and getting pushed. Right? I think we've all had those experiences. And so I think it's important to remember to give yourself permission. This is about permission to allow yourself to start where you are. Start exactly where you are. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know every detail of everything. In fact, it's interesting because the work that I left, I had been doing for how many years? 25 years. I had worked as a business analyst, systems analyst. I didn't know what that entailed, right? But I learned over time and developed the skills for that and worked then in that role for basically the last 25 years. But you have to start where you are with that. In business analysis, and some of the systems analysis works, most of the time, you don't have the full picture. I mean, I would say at the speed and the pace that everything moves today, you're lucky if you're getting 10% of the picture half the time. And they're telling you all they know is this is what we're trying to do. They may have some determination of the architecture that they want to use to get there, but things are generally pretty nebulous. They're giving you a very little amount of information to go on, and then they're giving you a task and they're saying, go figure it out. Go make it work. How do we get from here to here? Right? And this is your part that you're responsible for. So you were working with a lot of assumptions. You were working with a lot of unknowns. That's just part of it. Right? You had to start where you are. If I had waited in that work that I did to have all of the information and everything figured out, nothing would ever get built. Nothing would ever get done. Nothing would ever get accomplished. And even when we do start figuring out some of the pieces and think that we have a plan, a pretty good plan, lots of times what happens is when it comes to implementation time, you have to switch, you have to change, because something with the implementation is it's providing feedback, it's providing reflection, let's say, that approaching it in this manner is not going to work quite as well as we thought, so we're going to have to shift some things, right? But we still know what the main goal is. So start where you are. It's amazing. The reason why I'm speaking of this is because at times I'll have a propensity, and in the new work that I want to do, I have been struggling with. I've been trying to get all the answers up front. And then once I have all the answers, okay, now I have enough to actually build something or create something or offer something, right? What this is bringing me back to is saying, no, you have enough to start sharing and start putting value out there now. And for those of you who have been on a spiritual journey and a spiritual path, you reach a point where you understand you will never know anything. That's the beauty of knowledge. You will never know everything. That's what I meant to say. There's no way to know everything, because knowledge is continually growing and continually expanding. So what I want you to do is to remind yourself with whatever idea you have, with whatever thing that has been calling you, that says, follow me, do this, show up as a leader in this, just start going down this path and let the path unfold in front of you. Whatever that thing is for you, to trust yourself, to trust life, to trust your higher self, your soul, your spirit, and just allow yourself to start where you are. Because what happens if you don't? What happens if you don't start where you are? Then you're guaranteed to end up with nothing. You're guaranteed then to end up with nothing. So let's say you have an idea. You want to bring it into fruition, and we're going to start right here. This is where you are right now, right? What happens in many instances? We say, okay, I got my plan all laid out, right? On Monday, I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to start doing the thing. And then what happens? Monday comes. Something happens in life Monday. And you say, today's just not the day. Things went sideways at work. Things went sideways in my home life. Whatever it is, right? And you don't do it. So you're like, okay, that's fine. We'll get to it by middle of the week. Middle of the week, Wednesday. Okay. Nope. You know what? I didn't sleep well last night. It's been a hectic couple of days with whatever's going on. And so you don't do it. You're like, okay, that's fine. I'll get to it on the weekend. Weekend comes, right? Now you're out having fun. You're out just doing whatever. Before you know it, it's the end of the week. And it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. Tomorrow's Monday. So notice a full week has already passed right here, right? Starting where you are is about allowing yourself permission to begin right here with whatever you have, but also either you holding yourself accountable or having somebody who's close to you in your life help hold you accountable to the commitment that you're wanting to make. If you want to bring this idea in life to fruition, if you want a change in life, in the circumstances of your life, then you have to begin. And you have to start where you are. And you have to start then moving incrementally forward. It doesn't matter how fast you move per se. It's only, are you moving forward? And it's okay to stop and take a momentary breath. You know, like if you're climbing a mountain, climbing a hill, every now and then if you're on a hike, you got to stop, breathe in the fresh air, acclimate yourself a little bit, and keep going so you don't lose the momentum. This is all about giving yourself permission to start where you're at. A thing I was struggling with on this the other day is actually kind of ironic. Because as I was listening to some others about the work that I want to do, like I said, I know the overall intent of where I want to go. I just don't know all of the pieces and how it's all going to work together and fit together. And I was getting myself stuck in, well, put this together first, and then you can start this. And then put this together, and you can start this. And I was trying to over-architect it, trying to over-construct it, right? When it came to me, wisdom flowed through to just say, dude, just remember, start, excuse me, start where you are. You're making it too complicated. Just like in our jobs, just like in the things of life, lots of times things are thrown at us. We don't know. We don't know what to do with what's been handed to us. But what do? We start working with it. We start figuring it out. We start untangling and breaking things down, right? When I looked at this, like, are you going to be able to do what you want to do? Are you going to be able to step into the work that you want to step into, Michael? part of my mind was saying, well, no, I'm just not ready. And I was making an excuse, right? What happens though, if you continually tell yourself you're not ready, you end up going down that timeline I just drew. Before you know it, you were a week out. Maybe you've created a lot of ideas, a lot of documentation, but you still haven't really done anything. You still haven't really put anything into action yet. Yeah. And sometimes those weeks turn into months. Sometimes we've experienced it where those months turn into years, and sometimes we just forget about everything that we wanted to do, and we just let the whole thing go. When in reality, we wanted to make a change in our life, whatever change that is. All change starts here. It doesn't start out there. And the first thing is giving yourself permission to change. The first thing is also realizing that you have the power. You are the only one who has the power to make any difference and to make any change. And with that change, you begin where you're at. You start exactly where you are. So I had to work through a list for myself to say, as the different parts of myself were, how shall we say, communicating with one another, right? Now, what I want to point out is all parts are valid. Every one of them gets a say, but not everybody gets an equal say, and not everybody gets to be captain of the ship. So, the parts of self, the different parts of your mind are free to express what they want as you wrestle with these things. What I had to sit down and do is, do you really have enough, Michael, to start working forward on this, to start putting yourself out there, to start allowing yourself to be seen, to start showing up the way you want to show up? Do you have what's necessary for that? And part of me was saying, no, I just need more of this. I just need more of that. And the other part of me said, fine, you want to make that argument? Let's write it down. And so we sat down and we said, well, what do you have? What do you have that you bring to the table, let's say? What do you have that offers you skill and I can't think of the other word, but the abilities that you bring forth to the table, right? Well, I've got 2 black belts. Okay. So I've got a black belt in Taekwondo, I got a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Well, that's not an easy task, right? I've been an assistant instructor in Taekwondo before. I've taught just recently, completed teaching almost for 3 years, teaching Tai Chi class. So let's put that down. Let's put 3 years of Tai Chi instruction, teaching. Right? What else do you have? Oh, well, I'm an ordained minister. Okay. Certified life coach. I have a psychology degree, BA or a BS. I can't remember which. I also have an associate's degree in Bible or religious studies. Right? And the list goes on. As I did this, I've got 25 years experience of, putting presentations together, working with the nuts and bolts of things, disentangling lots of things. I have lots of experience working with people, both in a spiritual setting and a transformational setting, both as participant in groups and both as a leader or co-leader in those groups and doing workshops and whatever it is. So as I started making this list, that gave me some proof to say, see, the other part of your mind, the other part of your person that is fearful and says, no, we need more in order to feel safe. Providing this to that other part said, no, look, we're good, man. Did I know what was going to happen anytime I went to Tai Chi class? No, I just showed up. I was present. But I knew enough. I knew the material. I know how the body works. I know how the breathing works. And you handle the questions in the moment. And the worst case is you say, you know what? That's a great question. I don't know. Again, it goes back to you're not ever going to know everything that you can know. You're not always going to be prepared for everything that you think you need to be prepared for. So give yourself permission to start where you are. Acknowledge the fact that you know more than you generally give yourself credit for, and that you have deeper abilities that come to the surface when they are necessary. Start where you are. Start where you are. That's really the message I want for you to take from this today, is to say, I, Michael, in my case, I, Michael, give myself permission to start right where I am. To start showing up in the way that I want to show up, and to have enough trust in myself and enough trust in life, enough trust in God, however you want to term that. To know that as things unfold, you will show up and be present. And if you don't know the answers, you will figure out, you will find out what needs to be done next to move further down the path. Trust in yourself and the abilities, and give yourself the permission to start where you are. So the question is today, what is it that you've been holding back on? Where is the place where you keep putting off something that you've wanted to start? That could be bringing an idea to fruition, right? Bringing it into the real world, making it a reality. That could be starting a different change in your life, whether it's a relationship change of some kind, whether that's a personal relationship that you have with somebody, whether that's a relationship that you have from a work or a career standpoint. But just determine the overall higher arching, what is it? What is the intent here? Where are you trying to go? And then start where you are and start taking those steps, and then trust in yourself and trust in God, trust in life to lead you on your way. And that you will have everything that you need as the path before you unfolds. As always, blessings and love to each of you.